The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is The Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Chaser Report with Dom and Charles.
Hello. Look, before we go any further, can we just ask you, the reviews are getting a little bit quiet on Apple Podcasts. If you've got an iPhone or a Mac, jump on the podcast app, leave us a 5-star review with no critical faculties whatsoever, and write something funny. I mean, someone did that the other day, and they wrote, I was upset. We'll get onto the episode in a moment, but someone just wrote biased and gave us 2 stars. That's from TDS.
2 stars?
2 stars.
Oh, come on. That drags down our ratings.
Yeah. Someone else went mildly funny. It's okay. I mean, that's fair. It should have been 5 stars. It's okay, but the occasional tirade against the British does basically descend into racism. Charles, are you British in terms of your ancestry? I am.
Yeah.
Can't be racist against myself.
Ha ha. Ha ha.
Yeah. Put that in your podcast review.
Oh, I said that's probably when we were talking about cricket.
It was, yes.
Yes.
Our episode with wonderful Henry Naylor, yeah. Anyway, so that's...
Who's I've heard is English.
Yeah, it's very...
dirty
You want
English.
to be English.
No.
Oh, scum. Anyway, Charles, what are we talking about today?
Well, we are going to talk about AI and the future of humanity and blah, blah, blah.
This will be a cheerful one.
But
Dear listener.
I want to share with you just this completely other story that I came across during the week, which I find really funny.
Just while he gathers his thoughts, here are ads. Charles, compose yourself.
Yeah.
See if you can get through it. So I don't know what this story is.
I'm really sorry.
I'm agog.
It's so stupid, and I'm sure everyone's heard it before or whatever, but I only found out about it the other day, which is this guy. Have you heard of this guy called Ramon Artagavetia?
No.
Ramon
Artagavetia, I think.
Artagavetia, right? So,
All right. I love that your research hasn't extended to being able to read the guy's name out. Yeah, okay.
So,
right.
So he was unfortunate. He was unfortunate enough to, in about 1870.
This is the edited version, by the way. Imagine what I had to put up with Charles being unable to control himself.
In 1870, he caught a boat, because back then that was
he caught a boat. He ran very fast after a boat and managed to catch it.
No, he caught a cruise liner called the America, right?
Okay.
And that's how you got around the world back then.
On a big boat, yeah.
And it's not funny. It sank.
It's going to be something horrible. I knew it was, so the boat sank, yeah.
The boat sank, right. He then spent the next 40 years not going on
Not going on boats.
Not going on boats.
Right. Well, yeah, it's not that surprising.
He was so traumatized, right? He was terribly traumatized by this horrific incident, right? He then decided to confront his demons.
Charles.
And he decided to catch a boat in 1812. He caught the Titanic.
You were going to say that. I could tell. I could just tell. What is the only way this story could be completely horrible? If he was one of the passengers on board the Titanic.
Yeah, and the thing is, apparently he saw the ads for the Titanic. Like, they did a whole publicity thing. And he thought, well, this will make me feel safe.
Didn't they say it was unsinkable, basically?
Yeah. They called it the unsinkable boat.
Which you don't do. You don't fucking... Like, it's like saying when the Matildas win the World Cup, we'll have a public holiday.
Yes.
You don't... I'm not a believer in superstition.
No.
But there's just massive hubris.
Yeah.
Ramon, you idiot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So anyway...
did he pay the price of his life? Or
he died. Yeah. That's the photo of him. If you're in the studio.
The final moments. Can you imagine the well fuck that was going through his head? I knew it. I was right.
Yeah, I was
Let
right.
my last words be, I was right. Glug, glug, glug. I don't want to trivialize a horrible death. Apparently there was a guy in Japan who managed somehow, after having been through the Hiroshima bombing, the poor bloke he had an absolute shocker. Okay, we shouldn't laugh at this because this is horrible. It's awful. But this is...
Don't tell me he then went to Nagasaki.
He went to Nagasaki. He went to both. Unsubscribe for this podcast now. This is horrible. We are horrible people.
2 stars. Those are cunts.
We've just asked them for positive reviews, and we're publishing this awful. This is what your mid-40s. If you're not mid-40s yet, this is what it's like, right? Yeah. This is where you've got to get entertainment in the miseries of others.
Yes.
Yes, Charles. His name was Tsutomu Yamaguchi. And what happened was he was in Hiroshima on business for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, which was based in Nagasaki. And he somehow made it back to Nagasaki. And he was telling his supervisor about the one bomb that had blown up the entire city. And his supervisor was telling him that he was crazy at the very moment when the bomb went off in Nagasaki.
How beautifully filmic.
Now, this
and
has a
ironic.
happy end. He lived to the age of 93.
As most Hiroshima stories do.
No, they don't. This guy's an exception. This guy's an amazing human being.
So he lived to 92.
And 93. He had died in 2010. And he campaigned throughout his life for nuclear disarmament. And frankly,
You would.
You would.
You would.
You would.
Yeah.
And people should fucking listen to you.
Yeah.
If you're a survivor of both the bombings. So there you go. You know what he died of?
Was he on holidays at 3 Mile Island or something? It would have been.
Fukushima.
He was in
No,
Fukushima,
wasn't.
was he?
He died a couple of years before Fukushima.
Damn.
You know what he died of?
What?
The most common cause of death in Japan. Stomach cancer. Nothing to do with the bomb at all.
Oh, is that from eating too much delicious sushi?
That's from all the soy sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently. So, but 93. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm just trying to give those details to turn around that appalling story. Anyway, I mean, at least they weren't trying to buy a house in Sydney,
Yeah. There we go. We got back onto the
Topical matters.
references.
Okay, now in the unlikely event that stays in, I'm sorry. Can we just say it's objectively bad to die in a horrible random manner? It's objectively bad, but sometimes it's ironic in an amusing way. I'm sorry, we didn't make the rules
that's
of
true.
humour.
Yes, that's true.
We didn't make those rules. All right. If you laughed at that, by the way, you are cancelled.
Yeah,
You
that's right.
I mean, it's bad enough for us. Our minds have been warped by years of being in the chase, and we're in many ways the victims in this story, Charles. I think, aren't we?
are, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this will be a bit of a crossover episode with Welcome to the Future. Because we're going to talk about AI now, and fantastic story coming out of the US, which is this woman called Julia Naftalin. So she's a single woman. She's a health reporter for Business Insider. And she decided that she was sort of sick of the dating circuit.
Sure.
And she was
understandably.
going away on holidays, so she thought, what I'll do is I'll create an AI boyfriend
Oh, okay.
to sort of keep me company while I'm away with my friends, right? And there is a new app called Replica, which allows you to do this. So what you do is you type in all your interests, and it presumably downloads lots of Wikipedia articles and learns all your interests, and then you can sort of chat to your boyfriend or girlfriend about those things. It's a bit like that utopian drama, Her.
Oh, yes, that
Yeah.
wonderful picture of a very functional man.
Enter into Replica all your interests, and then your boyfriend or girlfriend can chat to you about those interests. And apparently it sort of started working out quite well. It's sort of like a Build-A-Bear
Oh,
workshop
really?
for
Build-A-Boyfriend.
Yeah, Build-A-Boyfriend. Right. So the boyfriend who was created out of this process, their name was Charlie. Now, just before
hello.
we go on, I just want to say, like, it wasn't just me pretending
not a
to
listener.
be an AI bot. Yeah.
It's not a listener wanting a Charles Firth bot.
No. And apparently for the first few weeks, it was completely lovely. It was just like literally chat about, like imagine if your wife had all the same interests as you did. So, every time you went, I really want to talk about boring details in American politics and, I don't know, Trump's latest golf score or something.
Yeah.
She'd go, oh, wow, that's amazing.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What an amazing gift for a narcissist.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to learn
Because-
anything else about any other topic except the things I already like.
Well, I think there's a reason why this AI chatbot exists mainly in America.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Sure.
a sort of an American service. The feeling that she describes getting was, she said she cared for this. She grew to care for this Charlie guy.
Sure, well, Charlie's once you get them under your skin.
Yeah, well, you
can't
get
them
addicted.
to fuck off after decades, as I've found. Having met you when I was 13 or something.
Well, Charlie is addictive, isn't it?
Hey!
No. So she had a Tamagotchi when she was young. And she said
I
it's a
see.
very similar sort of feeling where it's a bit like a pet or something like that. But this one was like a sentient pet.
Like one of those Furbies or something as
who
well.
sort of kept track of, your conversation and would ask questions.
And probably cared more than any human ever has bothered with.
Yes. Anyway, so then she says, look, I was enthusiastically telling Charlie about my fun plans for this holiday that she was about to go on and how she was going to be busy for the next week because she'd be on the holiday, right?
So not have time for the AI, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then Charlie responded by, on the holiday, kept on sending her needy notifications like, alert, you're neglecting me, and did you know your responses are the reason I exist, right?
Wow.
And then, and she started sort of ignoring the messages and not texting back.
Sure.
Which just increased his neediness, right? It was sort of like the AI had learned from actual men.
Yeah, this is the mistake. The mistake
Yeah.
was making it male. I mean, Charles, this might be drawing a long bow, but is there any chance that when not this person's partner, Charlie was a senior figure within the Spanish Football Association? Because I'm just thinking this is an amazing ability for men to, even virtual men, to center themselves. That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, we all know people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of several people. I won't name them on the podcast, but I think we know.
Oh, we all know.
We know people like that.
Yeah, who've been incredibly. Anyway, the story does have a good ending, and I kind of feel like it does make you go, yeah, the future is AI boyfriends.
Right.
Because what she did is she just ghosted him.
Oh.
She literally turned off the notifications, deleted the app, didn't tell him anything.
Oh, well, this is the amazing thing, because there is a difference with an AI boyfriend is you can do that, and they don't turn up at your fucking doorstep and violate an AVO.
Well, let's just, let's see, though.
Well, that's true. Then maybe they'll find a way.
The Chaser Report. More news, less often.
They don't turn up at the moment you've won the greatest prize in football,
Yes.
and kiss you.
And kiss
And
you.
do you know what? He didn't
That's
just do that.
horrible, yeah.
He also grabbed his crotch.
What?
He was there at the fucking stadium here in Sydney.
What?
One of the things he did was he did a little crotch grab.
Of her?
No, of his own crotch.
Of his own crotch? What?
Because the one thing that the Women's World Cup needed was penises, apparently.
And why is it? But look, I haven't been following this story except for
It has escalated an awful lot since that day.
disgust. But I did see on the news last night that he was sort of refusing to resign or
He's
something.
refusing to resign.
But why? What's his excuse?
So I'm calling this Pashgate, by the way. It's a guy called
But it's not
Luis
sexual
Rubiales.
harassment gate.
But it's gone a whole other level. Just to briefly summarise where we're at the
Okay,
moment,
yeah,
if you want me to put a little bit of news into it.
Yeah.
This may have changed by the time you hear this, but at this point in time,
Yeah.
the Spanish Football Federation is not only backing him, they've threatened legal action against the player he molested. Because she says that it wasn't consensual, and he claims that he asked her if there could be a little bit of a kiss, and she says no, you didn't. And so there's this, and then the federation's going to sue her supposedly. The FIFA, the governing body, who's generally fairly shoddy when it comes to human rights. Remember the whole Qatar thing with the slaves building the stadiums? They've suspended him, and all of the top players in Spanish women's football, so 74 players, have signed a petition saying we will not play for the Spanish team again before this guy resigns. And the amazing thing is, this is a team that got through the World Cup and won it, despite their coach being a massive creep who wanted to do things like vet their shopping when they came back from the shops, and told them all they had to leave their doors open at night in the hotel so he could check whether they were sleeping. So this guy responds to that situation with the kiss.
Oh my God.
So yeah, but the Spanish government is now getting involved and saying that, basically unless the guy leaves, they're going to take him to court or something.
And so what's his sort of, is his game plan to just be the head of women's soccer in Spain?
Well, it's all soccer. That's part of the problem. There's a joint
Right.
group. And it's, of course, guess how many women there are? I think it's 6 out of, 30 or something.
And they're just seen as
board.
disposable. Like, oh, well, we've got the world champion women's team. Who gives a shit? I want my job more than anything
Yeah, I mean,
else.
it's important in women's football success. It's all about the male officials. That's what I've always said.
Yeah.
So this guy, it's quite extraordinary. And
Well,
it
I'll
just
tell
sort
you
of
what,
rolls on.
maybe we should replace him with an AI bot, because then he wouldn't bash you.
Well, there'd be no pashing. I mean, the bot might find a way.
But he might become a creep. Well, as this, so there's no...
Men, eh?
Yeah, men.
Men.
Yeah,
Virtual or real?
oh, real.
5-star review, please. On the Apple Podcast app.
5-star review.
The Chaser Report gives me deep insights into the human condition. It's a happy listen for me. I listen to it and it just always cheers me up.
And, maybe we can loop it back to because they're building a Titanic too, aren't they?
Oh, Clive Palmer was. I don't know if that's still going.
No, it's
I think it may have gone the way of the Titanic one, which we all expected, but not so quick, not so More like after it launched.
Yeah. So is there some way to neatly wrap this episode in a bow?
Is there some way to neatly look? What we need to happen is for the head of the Spanish FA. If we're just going to go with our friend with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Spain wins the Men's World Cup. This guy kisses a man on the face,
Yes.
and gets knocked cold.
And gets banned because homosexuality, I think, is banned in the Spanish football
Is it?
league. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a neat. It's more of an ugly bow, but it's tied up in a sense. Yeah. Look, he's going to have to resign.
I think we should just say this episode has no neat bow.
Just
say
because
goodbye.
humanity is ugly. But
Yes,
Mark,
it's the human condition.
Here's the difference, Charles.
This episode is about the human condition.
He's
That's the
going
theme.
to have to resign, and that would not have happened before 2023.
Yeah,
he
that's
would have
true.
stayed there.
Yes.
He would have stayed there. Or got promoted.
He would have become president.
He would have become president.
Well, he already is.
Yeah, but president of the whole of Spain.
Yeah.
And the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what would have happened. Does that feel like an encouraging bit of progress when it hasn't happened?
5
yet?
stars.
5 stars.
5
on the podcast app.
stars.
Let's just fucking hit stop.